to another video for Phantasy Star Online 2 New Genesis. In today's video we're just going to be looking at all of the Ryuker locations and the region mag locations for the Kvaris region. So we've previously done videos for the starting Aelio region, and we've also covered the Retem region as well. So today we're just going to focus on the snowy Kvaris region, and then we'll do another video following this covering the latest region, which is the Steer region. So in this, we're just going to look at all of the locations for the Ryuker devices that you use for fast travel, and all of the region mag locations that you use for getting buffs. So when you get to the Kvaris part of the story, you will cross from this bridge here, which on the map, if I show you where it is, you can see it's just west of Resol Forest in Aelio. There's a bridge here, and this is where you'll enter the Kvaris region originally. And as soon as you enter, you'll come to the Ryuker for Quill Mountain Road, which is this Ryuker device here. And just a reminder that when you first see a Ryuker device, the lighting on it will be yellow. So if you're looking for one in the distance, you want to be looking for a tower with a yellow light on top of it, not a blue light. They only change to blue once you've actually discovered them. So this is the Quill Mountain Road region. And this essentially is a long road that will just lead you straight to the Kvaris camp. So if you look at the map, this road basically winds through these mountains and takes you more or less directly to the Kvaris camp. So from here, if you just follow this more or less northeast, you should come to the Danaan snowfield. So it is a bit of a trek to get through because the opening part of the Kvaris story is a bit of a trek. So you more or less just follow this path, and it'll take you through a few like snowy caves as well. There are enemies en route. Oh, I've actually got some of the dolls rappies there. These are the new seasonal rappies. So you will have enemies on the way, obviously, but we're just going to ignore them for the purposes of this video. So just continue to follow the path. And eventually you'll reach a sort of dead end, so you want to take the updrafter. And just follow it onto this raised ridge. And from here, basically just head directly north. There is a cocoon right here as well, just here on the map. But from this place, you just want to head directly north. Again, use the updrafters whenever you can. It just makes traversing the environment a lot easier. In Kvaris, there is a lot of large mountains, so you will be using a lot of updrafters. And once you come over this hill, you should more or less come straight to the Danaan Snowfield Ryuker. Yep, which is just this one down here. So this is for Danaan Snowfield, which is just here on the map. Additionally, if you want one of the cannonball areas, just go northeast from here and that's there. I won't be covering those in this video though. So from Danaan Snowfield, again just head more or less north and you'll come to the hub area of Kvaris, which is the Kvaris camp. So again, just head straight over and you'll see it straight away. There's this like light beacon. So the Kvaris camp is a little bit different from your previous hubs. For a start, it's a lot smaller. It's also staffed entirely by robots in the shops. I guess because the environment's pretty inhospitable, so they want just robots to manage it instead. But you can see the Ryuker straight away for the Kvaris camp there. So this, as I've said, is your hub area for Kvaris. So it's where all your shops and everything are. So this is the Kvaris camp Ryuker. You can see it's a much smaller area than your previous hub areas. Now from here, there is another Ryuker just east of here, but I'll cover that one last because there's a special trick to it. So from here, if you head just more or less to the west, you'll come to the Mistra Woods South Ryuker. It's a little bit misleading because you'll have to actually run north or south first because of the huge cliff face. There is some quite tricky traversing in Kvaris. I think the best way of getting to it actually might be to go from the south actually. Essentially Kvaris camp runs alongside a massive gorge, so it does make the terrain around it quite tricky. So you can see here that the terrain's much flatter, so it's a little bit easier to traverse. So again, just run west. Again, there is still a lot of climbing. Kvaris is probably the most mountainous region of any of them. So just keep following this to the west. And eventually you will come to the Mr. Woods South Ryuker. Kvaris is also quite a big region as well. It's quite a strange region really, because although it's one of the largest regions, there's actually large parts of the region that have nothing in them. So you can see just up here. So this is the Mr. Woods South Ryuker. So you can see we are just here. And right near it is a region mag. So just to the northwest of it is your first region mag. So the region mags, again, for anyone who hasn't watched the previous videos, the region mags just, you feed them items and they provide you with various buffs. So this is your first region mag. It won't look like this normally. The only reason that it looks really pimped out is because it's currently the 2nd anniversary event, so all the region mags have been decorated, but normally it'll look a lot more plain than this. So from here, there is actually another Mr. Woods Ryuker, which is the north one. So as the name suggests, you just want to head more or less directly north from here. If you're wondering why I do these videos when you can see them on the map anywhere, they don't appear on the map until you've actually discovered them. So again, just going to ignore all the enemies for now. There is another cocoon on the way as well. The cocoons are used to... They're essentially like little trials you can do when you get skill points for completing them, which you can use to learn skills on your skill tree. So they are definitely worth doing. You do want to be doing them. If you're wondering why my mag is pinging at the minute, it's because in this area there are some gathering points. Essentially, most areas have an item you can collect for money. So in Aleo, there's these things called alpha reactors. In Retem, there's, I can't remember what they're called now, but there's these little golden shards that appear in the air. In Kvaris, it's these little nodes called Snow. So when you break them, you get items that are worth 3,500 Mazetta each. Which isn't much, admittedly, but they spawn every day. And it's free money. So there's a few more here. So again, just keep heading north. Another way to keep track of where you're going on this part is, in Mr. Woods there's this little river, like a frozen river that runs through most of it. And once you get to it, once you see the northern section, just keep following that and it'll essentially lead you to the Ryuker. Now again, it's not the easiest one to get to. I think from here you have to take the updrafter actually. I'm not as familiar with the Kvaris Ryukers because I don't come to Kvaris very often. It's probably my least favourite region. Yeah, so you can just see just over the ridge here. So this is the Mr. Woods North Ryuker. So it's actually a really big area, Mr. Woods. So just here. So again, you've got your yellow battle deer just northwest of here. Literally, all you need to do from the Ryuker is just run over this hill. There's some more dolls rappies there. There's everywhere. Never see them at all when I play normally. So yeah, just follow this path round, and just down the hill here is your yellow battle deer. Again, I don't normally cover the battle deers in these videos, but when they're right near the Ryukers, I don't mind looking at them. So next off, you're best off from here. You probably want to go to... I think from here, the best option for you to go to is probably... If I go back to Quill Mountain Road... Actually, no, I won't. I'll go from Mr. Wood south. These Ryukers and Kvaris, some of them are a lot more difficult to get to than the other regions. Just because some of the paths are more or less impassable. Yeah, so from here, more or less south, slightly southwest. So again, just going to follow over this way. Now, Kvaris does have a similar thing to Retem, where you'll see some sort of cliff sides that look almost impassable, but they'll have slightly different coloured parts on them. These different coloured parts are generally paths that are a lot easier to climb up. So again, just keep using the updrafters when you can. The other advantage of using the updrafters is it gives you a good sort of surveying point to look at the surrounding terrain. So again, just want to keep on following this. And I want to be heading roughly west now. This is definitely some of the most difficult terrain in Kvaris. You have a lot of these like ice walls that just make it completely impossible to get up. There is certain sort of ice slopes that you can get up. It depends on how severe the slope is. Yes, there we go. Like I said, it's a lot more difficult to get to this one. So this is the Ryuker for Mount Ihana East. Now from here, you can more or less just go straight west to the Mount Ihana West Ryuker. You may actually be able to see it, yeah. So if I look out over towards the coast, you can actually see it on one of the little... the parts that sort of jut out towards the sea. You can see the Ryuker on the end of one of them. For me, it's blue, obviously, because I've discovered it. But essentially, just glide from here. This, when you're gliding from this Ryuker to the one over here, it does make you realise how big Kvaris is. You can also see, just in the northeast of my screen there, you can see there is a cocoon over there as well. There's also a region mag quite close by here as well, which I'll show you in a minute. So, you just want to drop down here. And this is the Ryuker for Mount Ihana West. So again, just here. Now, if you go more or less to the coast from here, you'll come straight to the next region mag. It's quite hard to see originally because it's such a distance down, but you can just as say see it under my character there. Just be a little bit careful if you are quite low level, because there is a veteran Frostal sword that patrols this beach. For me, it won't be an issue because I'm a little bit over level here now, but just something to be aware of. So this is the next region mag. So from here, you probably next want to go, if you go back to the Mount Ihana East Ryuker. This next one, you'll actually discover through story. So it's a bit of a strange one, this next one I'm going to show you. So in the story, you will actually find the entrance to this area, and there'll be a little cutscene that gets you into the area originally. But if you ever need to find your way back to it, this is how you get there. So from Mount Ihana East, you essentially just want to head north. There is a tower there as well. So towers are essentially like cocoons, but they give you like 4 skill points instead of 1. But there's a lot less of them. So just keep going north. And you'll cross into South Kvaris. And as soon as you enter, you'll see this little cave here. You just want to drop down and go into this cave. There's a few gathering nodes in here as well for various different minerals, so worth getting. And you'll come to this door. Now, the first time you get here in story, there'll be a little puzzle you've got to complete to get the door to open. Once you've done it once, you can just enter. So as soon as you get near the door, you'll come in here. And just as you walk up this path, this will bring you into your first combat zone, which is Lost Central. So once you're in Lost Central, the actual Ryuker is actually quite far from here, so it's actually straight on. You can see it from here, but it is quite a distance over. So as I said, this is your first combat area in Kvaris. So in Kvaris it's a little bit like Retem, there are 2 combat areas. You've got Lost Central, and then there's another one called Belagana Ruins. And Belagana has 2 Ryukers because it's quite a big area. Lost Central just has this one here. So that's Lost Central. Now, the next one is quite difficult to get to actually, so you probably want to go from Mr. Woods north, I think. So from Mr. Woods north, I want to head sort of southwest. These ones are very, very awkward to get to sometimes. And they are probably the most climbing. Essentially, the ones we're going for is Mount Latva. Now, Mount Latva, if you haven't guessed already, is that huge mountain up there. So that is basically where we're going. Essentially, it's just a lot of updrafters. There's also a lot of icy slopes as well, so if you do get it wrong, you will fall down really easily, which makes it really irritating. So to get to this first plateau, and you see we're still quite far off really, so we're here. We need to get over to here. They look really close together on the maps, these, but they're quite far apart. So we're looking for Mount Latva South. You can see that there is like a path that runs up here. Again, just slightly different colour to the rest of the terrain. I believe this might take you to the purple battle deer. But you can see we are getting close to the Ryuker now as well. The funny thing is I don't think I've ever came this way. So just keep climbing. Again, this is probably the most climbing you'll ever do in NGS. Just keep following this slightly different coloured path. And eventually... There is also a rare gathering point here as well, so these trees here, they have notable Kvaris persimmons, but it's only... I believe it's only during... Is it daytime, I think? Yeah, only during the daytime. Otherwise it'll be normal persimmons. Yeah, so this is actually the Mount Latva North Ryuker, so it's actually the third one up. However, once you get to here... Just need to position it right. Yeah, so once you get to the Mount Latva Ryuker, the north one, by following that path up, if you position yourself looking south and down onto the plateau below you, that's a different one to the one we were on earlier. If you position yourself well, you can see the Mount Latva South Ryuker there as well, so that we just glide down. So this is Mount Latva South. Now from here, you can get your last region mag. So you essentially just want to run slightly to the south from here. You can see where that updrafter is. You more or less want to aim for that. And as soon as you go over the crest, you'll see the next region mag. So again, like most areas, there's 3 region mags in Kvaris. So this is your final region mag. Just a little note actually on the Kvaris region mags. These have a unique ability. They will provide you with what's called cold weather or harsh environment resistance. So there is one area which I'll show you in a second in Kvaris called Ryuker Gorge. And while you're in Ryuker Gorge, you will take damage over time and you'll have a chance of freezing because the temperature's so low there. So by eating meals at these mags, you can build up your cold resistance and it will actually reduce the amount of damage you take. And if you manage to get that resistance to 100%, you won't take any damage. So you can see if I go into my character stats, you can see at the bottom there, it says harsh environment resist 35%. So that means I will take 35% less damage from the environmental damage. It will kill you really, really quickly, to be honest. But for the purposes of this video, I'm not going to boost it to 100 because I'm only going to be in the gorge for a few seconds anyway. And they've also made it so that the area directly around the Ryuker device is actually safe anyway. So, next up, so we've got all these Ryukers. The next one is the next battle area, which is Belagana Ruins. So, from Kvaris Camp, I'm trying to show them in sort of a meaningful order so that you can only go to Ryuker devices from ones that you've already discovered. So from here, you just want to sort of head northeast, and there is actually a bridge out of the camp. So you can see this bridge over here. This takes you into South Kvaris. But it's only very briefly. So if you look over here, just down there is Ryuker Gorge, which is the cold damage area. So you follow this over here and it'll take you directly into Belagana Ruins. Now in Belagana there are 2 Ryuker devices. There's one at the south and there's one at the north. So when you enter you'll be closer to the one at the south, so just head slightly east. Unfortunately pretty much where all these enemies are. And as I've said, Belagana Ruins is your second combat zone in Kvaris. So just follow over and there's a little frozen lake. And as soon as you get over there, you'll see the first Ryuker device, which is Belagana Ruins South. Which is here. Now from here, you more or less want to head northwest. There is actually another way to get to it as well. So the other way to get to it is from Mr. Woods. In fact, what I'll do is I'll show you the other way to get to that Ryuker as well. So if you go to Mr. Woods North, you can obviously just run through Belagana Ruins as well, but doing it this way, you don't have to run through massive spawns of enemies. So if you just run more or less east from here, Again, as easy as you can, because you will be working your way around a lot of mountains. It's a little bit to the south from here. So you may be able to see, it's kind of hard to see in the mist, but there is like a bridge crossing. Again, you might struggle to see it, but we're just coming over to it now. But essentially this bridge goes over Rayjord Gorge, which then takes you into Belagana Ruins. This is about as much visibility as you'll get in this part of Kvaris as well. Oh, there's actually a red box there. And we've got these are what are called mischief symbols, so these only appear in seasonal events, so this won't be there normally. I don't really know what purpose they have. You activate them and they flash, and that's about it. So again, keep following and you come to this crossing. So this is going directly over Rayjord Gorge. You won't take any cold damage going over this though, because you're far enough above the gorge to take the damage. And you can actually see the Belagana North Ryuker straight away from here. Just up on that little outcrop. So you can see it just up there. So whenever you're fighting in Kvaris, it's going to be either in Belagana Ruins or in Lost Central. So this is Belagana Ruins North. And from here, there's only one more Ryuker left, which is the one I mentioned earlier, which is this one in Rayjord Gorge. So you can see, even when you highlight it, it says, you will take periodic damage in this field. You can reduce this damage by increasing your harsh environment resist. So I'll show you what that actually involves. So from Kvaris Camp, I will show you how the cold damage works as well. It is really nasty though, and there is a risk I might die doing this. So you basically want to head east. We'll take you into South Kvaris. Now, from here, so this is the bridge we were at earlier, which takes you into Belagana South. So instead of actually going down there, if you jump down here into the gorge, what you'll see is I'll start taking damage. They actually warn you that it's a dangerous place as well. So you can see there I'm taking like 100 damage. And again another 100, and it also has a chance of freezing you as well. So once you're here, this small area around the Ryuker here is safe. I think because they've got a campfire here, it's warm enough so you don't take the environmental damage. As soon as you run away from this Ryuker, you'll start taking damage again. Now, the only reason that you'll come to Rayjord Gorge really so far is at the very, very north of this gorge it's around here. It may even be up here. There's a cave, and that cave is the only place in the game at the moment that can spawn ancient enemies, which are essentially like really, really strong bosses. So that's the only reason you would come to the gorge normally. Just be aware that if you come here, you will take damage over time unless you're very close to this Ryuker. So I think that covers all of the Ryuker devices for the Kvaris region, and we've also covered the 3 region mags. So one there, and one there. So that's all for this video for now. If you've got any questions or anything, just leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any questions about NGS that you might have. In the next video, we will be doing the same kind of video, but for the Steer region, which is the most recent region. And then after that, we'll do some general gameplay videos for NGS. So I'll probably do a video about the new Slayer class and my impressions of that overall. Just a little spoiler, it's really strong. So we'll do a few videos on that, and then we'll just do some general gameplay videos as well. I'm also planning to stream NGS a bit on Twitch as well over the next week or so. So if you're interested in seeing some gameplay of NGS and you haven't never played it before, just feel free to come and watch on my Twitch channel, which is twitch.tv/SectionSkyline. You can also follow me on Twitter as well, which is twitter.com/section_Skyline. But for the meantime, any questions, leave them in the comments below, and otherwise I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks now.